I don't know what number we're on. This is Mike's favorite clips, number 6. This is the parody of Pablo Escobedo, in the movie Clear and Present Danger. And Tom Clancy, I didn't watch C-SPAN 2 that much, but man, when I'd flip past there, it's like I was being spoke to flip to that channel. Because I saw a few things show up on C-SPAN 2 that I've told people about it, and they're like, what? Yeah, I never heard that. And it would show up every now and then on C-SPAN 2. With Tom Clancy, he was interviewed, and they played that interview over and over again. During Ronald Reagan's administration, so at some point, Sean Connery played with the early Jack Ryan. Alec Baldwin, I think, played Jack Ryan in Hunt for Red October. Ronald Reagan apparently read the book and liked it, so boom, Tom Clancy really gained a lot of notoriety inside the Beltway. And so by probably the late 80s, he had access to a lot of top brass. They would come and kind of seek him out and say, man, my nephew, my so-and-so, my family member really wants a copy of your book signed. Or they love your book. And so he was rich enough off of the royalties from his, and notoriety from Hunt for Red October, he could afford some really good whiskey, hundreds of dollars a bottle stuff, right? So, depending on how important this guy was that wanted him to sign a book, he'd get out the good whiskey, tip a few back, talk shop a little bit, and they might say, well, I can't really get into that with you, Mr. Clancy. It's classified. And he'd whip out something like, and a Jane's defense manual is depicted in this movie. He'd flip out a book he came to call the O. You remember the doors on Star Trek? On Star Trek, they closed and they made a open and close. Shh, right? Those doors. So C-SPAN 2 played this interview over and over again. I just flipped past there and there would be again. He had this book he called the book. And they'd talk about what they'd say, well, I really can't get into that. It's classified. You don't have clearance. He'd flip out Jane's defense manual, and open it up, and they would go, that's declassified? And so with a little more whiskey, these idiots with all the egg yolks on their caps and the brass on their shoulders and stuff, apparently didn't see Mel Blanc's movie for World War II, his cartoons, Private Snafu, because that very thing happened with Private Snafu. He would get inebriated and die on the ship the next morning because he told some buxom babe that had a shortwave radio in her blouse. Look at this. They're depicting this. We sail at dawn. There's the cell phones being depicted, and this movie was 1992. They're scanning all of the cell phones in Colombia and probably the entirety of South America to find this guy. Voice print recognition.
We must have a meeting. As soon as possible to straighten this thing out.
And there's the murderer. The murderer in the background they're looking for. He picks up the phone and dials the guy back. And they catch his voice print for him saying, I don't know what you said to him, but he's scared. They're having a birthday party at this hacienda, which William Dafoe and Easy Rhino is about to put a laser-guided munition on the side of a truck. Well, listen what they get here. They don't know. They're scared.
Nobody said to him that it was right.
They don't know what you said to him. So, That was an ex-Castro intelligence operative who had killed a secretary who was he was playing girlfriend boyfriend with a White House secretary. He killed her, and Jack Ryan here, played by Harrison Ford in this movie, is smart enough to realize when they're at the apartment, they had the answer machine. He calls her up and sets up a meeting at a cabin as he's coming in for the weekend or some crap. And let's see if I can find that scene. This is Paramount, which is going to make me play some sports commercials now. But again, the movie's called Clear and Present Danger, and apparently they're going to make me. I won't be able to find that scene, but it became kind of an internet meme for a while in the blogs. People would quote the phrase that was in this movie where Jack Ryan says, "You've got the killer's voice on tape." And all they had on tape was, "The machine is still on, Moira." And you're worried about flock cameras. I personally knew a friend of my dad's, and I ended up working under him for a little while as a cable TV installer. He left cable TV to become an engineer for cell phone industry way out west in the middle of nowhere, where they did not even have weather radar in the Four Corners area. Why, ironically, the Route 666 went through there, that everybody kept stealing the road signs, so they changed the route. And now the signs may still say formerly Route 666. For a number of years, it was kind of funny because they would say formerly Route 666, right? And so they just still those signs. But obviously, I think this movie is now owned by Paramount. I can't remember if it was originally a Paramount property, but if you want to watch it, it's free on some apps. I think it's like $1.99 or $2.99, something like that on Amazon. Unless you have Amazon Prime, it might be cheaper than it is normally. But I like the movie so much, I think I have it on VHS and DVD maybe. So I don't have to put up with these commercials if I want to watch it on a DVD player. But the youngsters are starting to appreciate good old physical media because of that, having probably grown up and lost their content that they paid for on a phone that went dead and couldn't be the data couldn't be extracted out of it, and all their apps and songs and stuff like that went belly up. Believe me, I've been a computer geek since about 1980, maybe a little before that, and with a TI-99 4, original TI-99 computer that right after I started learning how to program on it, the whole company went belly up. And then within a year or two, I lost a backpack full of floppy disks, physical media, and somebody probably threw it away. It was left in a dorm, lounge room of a dorm. And so I got pretty tainted pretty early by people spying in on phones and intercom systems, and the computer, how you can lose your whole months and months worth of work just because you fell asleep and a backpack went missing. But in any event, here shortly we'll be out of these commercials, and I think I've rewound it to the point to where Jack Ryan lets him know, "You've got the killer's voice on tape." He's trying to find the password to. This guy's funny too. And you know, WKYT, when I had an internship in Lexington, they had a tape drive like that, an automated system to go through and play tapes. So anyway, it's a pretty interesting movie. But you consider the year 1992, you consider the Tom Clancy book, and how he might have learned the capabilities for voice print recognition. Then you then you tie that in within a few years, I found out about this cable TV engineer was triangulating phones or certifying cell phone sites to triangulate phones down to less than 10 feet in the Great West, where they didn't even have weather radar. They wanted to be able to find and track targets down to less than 3 meters or 10 feet. And the guy plays a pretty cool president. Comes off as like a Lyndon Baines Johnson type character. Tough, but not as smart as he needed to be there. I don't know where the scene is. That's the guy whose secretary they kill. And then they use this guy. I think he's a black fella, computer geek, to identify the voice print, where the guy was educated, and that sort of thing. That's his babe of a wife. And she's also friends with the secretary that gets killed, I think. He doesn't realize who she is at first, but she catches a glimpse of him at this dinner, and she tells him he's sort of a Latin Jack Ryan. Yeah, they're going to make us watch more commercials. Anyway, I thought I'd try this. It's not working that great. Anyway, voice print recognition, and location data, metadata, even when the phones are off, and you're telling me they can't find somebody that was taken hostage. They can't figure out who was near a murder scene to solve a murder. I mean, there is this thing called the Special Operations Division. And if you are privy to the Special Operations Division data to build probable cause, you're not allowed to talk about it. And multi-jurisdictional task forces can get that Special Operations Division help from the spying in on these devices. But no doubt there's probably tens of thousands of cases that are tainted from fruit of the poison tree. In other words, they didn't have probable cause to do the mass surveillance that they're doing on us now, except they've been rationalizing it, brainwashing people in criminology school by saying, well, most Americans are guilty of 3 felonies a day. So we're all guilty of something. It's just a matter of figuring it out. If we follow you long enough, man, you can be dealt with. Is this the America that you were sold to be patriotic to? I don't know about you, but this certainly wasn't. And it's definitely not heading for the last 20-some years, or since the 90s, definitely not heading towards anything deserving of patriotism, because it can turn on you like on a dime without probable cause. Your freedom of assembly is shot because everybody's tracked. Can you go to a underground church meeting? Can you organize a Reformation Party candidate? Something, to really go after the swamp like Trump promised to do. Trump's a steam valve. I think he took the lyrics from some Merle Haggard songs to make his campaign points out here in flyover country. What do you think? Rebuild America first. There's things to be done all over the world, but let's rebuild America first, right? If you know your Merle Haggard. By the way, when that song came out, I got the early release video from maybe Arista Media out of Nashville from a Country Clips show. It never made it to radio. So by golly, I played it. I played the heck out of that. And for years, I would pull it back out and play it. And, well, I'm not sure where in the movie they catch the murderer's voice on the answer machine. But I did find that, when they were having that, calling for that meeting, he's scared. Whatever you said to him, it was correct. And somewhere in here, Tom Ryan's wife tells him that the secretary is dead. And it was after his friends got killed. He's what? The man that she was secretary to got killed in Colombia. And he doesn't understand what she's trying to tell him at first. Wow, there's a lot of commercials on this. You can't fast forward or rewind at all. Survive AI. What a coinky dink. Declaring present danger. That's kind of funny. Survive AI. I'm not sure we can. And I don't want to get into some of the intuition I've had about AI over the years, especially after having some incidents that people wouldn't believe, even with proof. And finally, years later, they say, when they realize I was right, they'll rationalize it by saying, well, Mike, it's the way. It's the way you told us. Then you could tell that's AI. You know how? Look at this gal on the sidewalk right there. The shirt is gone. The concrete is showing through. There's a few clues like that with AI. The shadows might not match up. A lot of these are good, but they may have put an AI, a few clues just for fun in there. Oh, well, I don't know if that's the shadow has been extended over top of these people too. See, right there, the shadow of this guy goes over top of their backs. And you see that going, crowd scene, you might miss a few things there, but this is a dang commercial, and I just noticed that. You have to be pretty detail-oriented these days to catch AI and survive AI. Believe it or not, I had a Kentucky State Police fundraiser call probably 16 years ago at this point. I can't remember how long ago it's been, 2012, 2010. And I could tell the pacing of the voice was a little off. And they had apparently sampled enough of this state policeman's voice that they were able to use a computer to mimic his voice. And I started saying, "You're a robot." And it ignored me the first two times. And I said, "You're a robot." And the third time it finally said, "Well, in answer to your question, I'm using a computer to help with this call." And it was so good. Voice faking was so good. I told people about it. I said, "Look, if you get a call from me, you're going to have to ask things that only I would know to be sure that you're not talking to a fake AI." I wasn't involved in any militia groups or anything, but I did do some videos for some weird groups. Take Back Kentucky, they're not really weird, but they did have some ambitions of trying to secure property rights, and they had a coalition with a Kentucky State Militia group called Kentucky State Militia. And so that probably made me a target. The TV station was a target before I went to work there. But there are several other businesses here in Morehead that were also a target that had their phone lines locking up with the random audio of phones on the hook, or cordless phones, or cell phones, randomly. one of the first ones that I had was inside of a daycare center, and it had to have been a cordless phone. And another one was a janitor running a vacuum cleaner. And I thought he went into a stairwell because the sound got all echoey when he shut off the vacuum cleaner. And I heard something go clink, a metal latch, and I heard what I realized was a zipper. And the guy had sat down and was starting to moan in this echoey bathroom. That might have been the very first one that I had. And I'm like whistling into the phone thinking, well, it's really echoing in this bathroom. You ought to be able to hear me. Hey, man, your phone's on. You called me by accident or something like that. I don't know what I was saying, but I was yelling and whistling and stuff. And then the next one, this is summer of 97. The next one was a daycare center. And women were talking in the background, children were playing. It sounded like a daycare center. It might have been preschool. And, here's where they used the laser guided ammunition to, they lured all these cocaine drug lords into a meeting and manipulated them into a meeting. And so Easy Rhino there, William Dafoe, paints the side of that yellow truck with a laser. And oops, last second they notice that there's going to be collateral damage. But who can make war with the beast, right? I mean, they can make fire from heaven and the side of men sort of thing. Why don't you fix this road? I thought we had everybody. Nope. And Pablo Escobedo escaped. And they used a celluloid encased munition. And there's no cell fragments around. Both Jack Ryan and this intelligence guy realized that the Americans are here, because inside of that bomb is something called Octal, which is a very expensive custom explosive. And the bomb itself is encased in cardboard of some sort, structural cardboard. So there's no shell fragments, and make it look like a truck bomb. There's this guy, Ritter, that's watching via satellite or whatever. And, there he is. See, there's the intelligence guy. The machine is still on, Moira. They found him by scanning all the cell phones in South America. Oh, there's a neat flight simulator program called GOFS if you want to fly that jet. That is actually a Hornet. They fly. You can get the Super Hornet. Here we go. Let's see. What is this? They're doing a voice print analysis. The man is completely out of control. They found a match. The machine is still on, Moira. Let's see if I can get that to play. I may have to go back. It's, again, 1992, Tom Clancy in his book. If you heard about it. This is how I was able to piece this together and to realize what the scale was in 1997 in the summer. Could I get anybody to listen to me? No. Here we are 29 years later, and people are worried about flock cameras, and they're carrying around these voluntary ankle bracelet. I guess I should count myself lucky that I've not been labeled as a rogue intelligence operation like Julian Assange.
Until a few years ago, working for the Masacheros terrorist group in Puerto Rico.
Well, maybe I have been. I have to wonder if how many agents and operatives that have been watching me that have retired, made money after keeping tabs on me, and they won't even take me fishing. Just because I was smart enough to put all this together and not give a crap about people calling me a conspiracy theorist or crazy, because I had proof. And what this has really taught me is all the proof in the world don't matter if the entire system is rigged to where there really isn't any freedom of the press.
Felix Cortez was a colonel in Cuba's intelligence service until a few years
So
ago.
back then they didn't have facial recognition, and they didn't have the bandwidth for these cell phones to record all of the video as you walk around. They can build a 3D matrix of all your surroundings and all of your friends and associates from your cameras that are always on. Ever wonder why you can't make a phone call without it being chopped up sometimes? The bandwidth of the networks is totally choked because they're spying on everything they can get. And guess what? They have giant VCRs, what I call them, Bluffdale, and these massive server farms that are bigger than a 36-hole golf course, and they just keep getting bigger and more of them. It's not AI that's the driver of all that. It's slurping up content, sorting it, filing it, encrypted or not, as far back as 5 years on billions of targets, billions of devices. Maybe at this point they can record for up to 5 years all the metadata for 5 billion devices. I don't know. It's hard to know what the capacity is at this point. Have a better one, I guess. I don't know. Oh, look for my other clips. This one didn't work that great, but this is like clip number 6 if you want to go fish around on TV10 Morehead Legacy. You can see where I've pieced this together.